Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. In this video we are going to be making my first jewelry box. This will be a gift for my girlfriend for our anniversary. So it'll be the first time attempting anything like this. I'm going to do miter edges. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these down to the rough size. So it's going to be a 10 by 6 box. So I'm going to cut two probably 12-inch pieces and two 8-inch pieces. Let's get started. So change of plans, I'm going to be making a 12-inch by 6-inch box instead of a 10-inch by 6. 10 inches kind of just seem a little short to me. So because I want the length of it to be 12 inches, I'm going to make my mark at 13 just to give a little extra wiggle room. And then I'll make a straight line on it, very faintly. Probably can't see it. And then I'll cut that down. Except now, I'll do the width, because I want that to be around 6. Make my mark at 7. I'll straighten that cut up. Line it up. So for those wondering, I picked up this piece of walnut. I think it was about maybe like 6 feet of it. I picked it up at my local home center. I'm sure you can get it at any home center near you or a hardwood store. So now what I'll be doing is this bottom panel is going to sit inside the wood rather than just on top. So I'm going to cut a dado on the inside of the wood, you want to cut the slot like a hair shy of the thickness of your board. That way it fits nice and snug. So what I'm going to raise up my blade to the height I want it, and I'll do one pass and I'll just slowly tap this over until it gets the perfect fit. So that's probably the desired height I want it. I might do a little less. But this middle blade right here, that's the highest point it'll probably hit, give or take. And so that's how you determine how high you want it. What you'll do, leave your slide over. Let's say you want, a little gap from the bottom to the board. Turn it over just a little bit, that way you'll have a little gap from the bottom. So I'm starting my slide at 1/4 inch. That way I'll have a little kind of overhang on the bottom part, and that'll be my first blade line, and then I'll slowly tap this to my right until the bottom panel fits snug. I'll be using this push block as well, that way I don't cut my fingers off. So that was the first pass, and as you can see, it looks like this is right now. Looks like that. Kind of hard to see. This camera's focusing too bad, but you get the idea. There's a slot. So I only moved it over a 1/16 of an inch. That way, because that panel is only about 2 blades width. That's what it looks like. So I'm gonna give one more pass and see if it's snug. If not, we'll do one more pass after that. So as you can see, after 6 passes, it fits well, fits snug, and they're pretty tight. Oh boy, yeah, there you go. So that's what it looks like. You can see the blade right there. I've made 6 passes, but very small. Maybe 32nd of an inch. Very half a 16th. Very, very short passes through, and you get your final length. You just want to make sure you do short passes. You don't want to go too much. So once you go too much, it's it. You can always go little by little and finally slowly inch your way up to that point. And it worked out good. So after I did that, now I'm going to cut down the bottom panel of the jewelry box. So I'm just going to cut it down. I'm going to cut off each edge that way, or just one edge, that way I can straighten it up. And then I'll cut it down to my length of 12 inches. So what I'll do is I'll cut one miter on each board, and then I'll put a stop block for the final one. That way they're all the same length. Alright, so what we'll do is the one we already mitered, we will put that. The stop block is too high. I have to move it down. Alright, there we go. Put the mitered side against the block. So after that, we have finished the two bigger pieces, the two 12-inch pieces. We did those, turned out well. So now we're just going to do the same process, but with the 6-inch piece ones. So I finished, I put it roughly together with tape. I put all the corners together and it fits nicely. So right here in the corners, there is a little gap. It's not flush with each other. But once you sand it down, and you can round them off a little bit, it'll be flush. And if not, what I'm going to do with the little spots that don't become seamless, I took leftover dust and I'm going to put glue and I'll make my own wood fill and fill that in, and then it'll be all good. So now I have this piece of birch wood that I also got from my local home center, and I'm just going to put this on the table, set the box down, and put it just on the corners and outline it out, and then I'll cut it. I'll cut it this way on the miter saw, sorry, and then I'll cut it lengthwise on the table saw. I forgot to film me putting these in, so this is me filming me putting, or just marking these. So I measured 2 inches in from each side, and now I'm just putting this against the line and creating my second line. And then I'll take this piece off, this panel, and I'll cut these little notches out again on the tabletop. So I took this piece of popular board and I put it inside the top of the jewelry box because it's going to be the shelf for it. I just made my marks lengthwise and widthwise, and I'm going to cut on the miter saw. So now that I got the majority of the box done. I cut out the place for the hinges. This is gonna be a 2-layer box. So I'm gonna have this be in the middle with a finger hole that you can take out. And then I bought these panels from a home center. They're 2.5 inches wide, so I thought they would be perfect height. And so I'll cut them down into 2 1/8 inch. That way they'll fit in here nicely. And then there'll be like dividers for different jewelry. And I'll do that for both sides. So now I'm making a kind of like, not shelves, but dividers for the jewelry box. So I'm gonna have these two being laid out like this, and then this one, and then they're gonna go inside and lock it into each other. I'm gonna use the table saw to cut out the slots for that. So after doing that and cutting them up, here's what the inside looks like. It's looking pretty good. So what I got to do, so what I'm planning to do is have this go on top of it, and put dowels, one dowel on each side to be able to pick this panel up, but also to have as a ring holder. And then I think I'll just divide it in half with one divider. So I disassembled the whole box. Now I'm just going to sand everything down with 220 grit, and then it's probably ready for assembly, and then a coat of Danish oil. So now that I finished sanding, I'm going to glue the bottom dividers together and just let them sit and start to dry. So what I'll do is I'll unravel it kind of. Actually, I'll keep this one on. And what I'll do actually, this will be a very snug fit. This is already a super snug fit in here, so I'm just going to leave those two in here. So I'll take the tape off on the sides. And then I'll attach glue on here and as well on here. And I'm not going to bother with this because it's already such a tight fit on here. I'll put the tiniest bit, actually. Why not? I'm not planning on it coming apart. And you just want to make sure you rub it nice and evenly. And now I'm just going to put that back on. And once you get a nice tight joint, you're just going to take your tape and put it like that. Now I'm just going to sand down the rest of the box where the glue was and sand it down with 220. So I sanded it down, but with the corners, there's still a little gap. There's still a little gap in between them after sanding it down. This one's pretty good. So I'm gonna take. I got this wood filler from my home center. It's a walnut wood filler. Well, there you go. It's a walnut wood filler, and it works with dark and walnut, so it should work good. And it hardens, and it'll be able to take the Danish oil when I finish it up later. So that's what I'm gonna do. While the box dries, I'm gonna go get felt from my store to put on the bottom. That way the jewelry will stay and not slide around all over the place. So I'll see you in like 2 seconds. Hello guys, so it's freezing out here, very cold. What I'm gonna do, I did this off camera, but I glued down the felt onto the top board, and I'm gonna do the same thing, but with the bottom portion in here. And how I glue this down is I just take some Elmer's school glue, rub down there, spread it evenly, and then just lay that there and let it dry. It works perfectly. Hello. So I just realized my microphone wasn't on this whole time. So what I just did was I drilled the hinges, I marked them hinges out, and then I took these little nails Took these little nails and then I put them inside the holes and closed the hinges on it. And then put my top on and then push down, that way it would mark it out. And then I showed you the marks. Now I'm just going to drill out some pilot holes for the top of the box. Round two of this.
Ready?
Okay, go ahead.
I really like this wrapping.
Well, bummer.
I know, so. What is it? What is the other way? Oh my gosh. It's a jewelry box? What the heck? You made this?
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Oh my gosh, it's like, it feels so professional. You did these. Oh my gosh.